Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. This video is part 4 of a Cooking a Different Food for Every State series that I have on this channel. In these series, I take 5 different states every video and I find a food that is really well known in each one of those states or is sort of the food or the meal for that state, and I try my hand at cooking it. Some of these recipes come out really well and some of them come out not so well. I'll link the playlist to all of these videos up in the corner there or in the description box below so you can go check those out after this video. Since the last installment of this series, Dan and I have actually moved to Illinois. So for these first 3 states that you're going to see, we're actually gonna take a little road trip back to Charlotte to our old apartment. And the first state that we're going to be looking at is New Mexico. We are cooking for New Mexico tonight, and what we are making is a green chili sauce. All of the recipes I've looked at for New Mexico, everywhere I was looking were basically saying, oh yeah, green chilies, green chilies, green chilies. And then I found basically that this green chili sauce is like a staple for a ton of recipes. And I thought, why not just get a good grasp of that sauce? So that's what I'm doing. So I've already gotten some enchiladas rolled up ready to go, and I'm working on this sauce right now. I have the onion and garlic in there. I have the chilies cut up. I have some bouillon for chicken broth. And I'm gonna get all that cooking up, let it come to a boil, let it come down to a simmer, let it simmer for a little bit, then I'm gonna pour it over my enchiladas and get those baking, and we're gonna see how they go. These are our enchiladas that we put together, and typically we have a red enchilada sauce that will pour over the whole thing, almost drown them in it, and then bake it. And we thought we'd go ahead and replace the enchilada sauce with the green chili sauce and just see how it goes. Many accounts claim that cultivated chili peppers were introduced into the United States by the founder of Santa Fe, Captain General Juan de Onata, in 1609. And after the Spanish began settlement, the cultivation exploded. One variety that adapted particularly well to New Mexico was a long green chili that turned red in the fall. I potentially added too much. We'll find out. It's hard to judge because the chunks of green chili they're throwing me off. I'm used to it being a smooth, purely liquid sauce. I'm not used to all the chunks. So I added all of it because I was looking for that level of sauce, the liquid that I'm accustomed to, but the green chilies just make it look very overpowered. Again, I could be totally wrong. I mean, it couldn't hurt. These are mild, so it's not like it's gonna be too spicy. I'm not worried about that at all, but we'll find out.
My first impression, though, is that once that was finished, to maybe take it to the food processor.
That's what I was thinking when we were sitting down having our salad, and I was just like running through it in my brain.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, this might have worked really well if it was in the food processor. Yeah. Which might be something we can try next time, or the blender, or something.
Yeah, well, we'll give it a shot. Ready, set, go?
Ready, set, go. Okay.
No, I like that. I get the flavor that's coming out and how it's working with what's here. It's true to its green sauce, has that tomatillo sourness a little bit.
A little bit.
I do think, I mean, even after tasting what I have here, the sauce could have been taken to the food processor. And then
I do think that would have helped enhance it.
I give this a thumbs up.
I do too. The overall flavor of the green chili sauce was good, but I feel like Dan and I definitely did something wrong. So if you guys have a green chili sauce recipe of your own, or if you're from New Mexico and you know the good stuff, check out the link to the recipe that we followed, which is in the description bar below, and let me know if I'm crazy. Let me know if that's a good recipe to follow, if that's not a good recipe to follow. Should we have blended and pureed all of the peppers together to make it more of a smooth sauce? Should we have left the chunks in? Something needed to have changed there, I think. But moving on to state number 2, we come to Massachusetts. For the state recipe that we're cooking today, we are cooking for Massachusetts, and I went ahead and decided to make some clam chowder. I've never eaten clams before. I've never tried clam chowder before. I don't know what the flavor is supposed to be like, so I'm a little nervous it's gonna be terrible because we're making an entire soup and we're gonna have a lot of leftovers. Hoping that's not the case. Dan did suggest that we make some bread, so I actually have a loaf of bread that's risen, and I'm just preheating the oven right now to put it in the oven. But look at how beautiful that is! But that's not the state recipe, so we're not focusing on it. I have right here all of this beginning things prepped, and when I was looking for a recipe for clam chowder, everybody had an opinion. And I'm going with what I found to be a fairly common recipe, I guess, because the recipe I'm using, it calls for flour and thyme and potatoes and bacon, and let me tell ya, reading through some of the comments on some of these recipes, some people were really angry about these ingredients and how they should absolutely not be there, and it was strange. It's like, why? So there was a lot of people who were like, no, it's totally fine that those are in there. There's a lot of people that were like, absolutely not. You're doing the world an injustice by adding bacon and thyme. God forbid you put thyme in there. So this is the recipe I'm following. It will be in the description box below if you guys want to check it out. Leave your opinions in the comments below if this recipe is a true Massachusetts clam chowder or if I flopped horribly on this. I wanted more things in there because Dan's not a fan of a brothy, creamy soup that much, so I figured the more I could put in it, the more likely he would enjoy it. So that's what we're doing. But I have bacon over here thawing, I have potatoes cut up, I have celery and onion, and I'm using way more celery than the recipe called for because we can never use our celery up. So we're using a lot of celery. But I'm gonna get started on all of that and catch up in a minute, I guess. All right, now it's time to start adding these things. Oh, I forgot to shake it. Turn it, oh well. Now it's shaken. And while we let that simmer, it's time to clean up. Food historians believe that French or Nova Scotian settlers introduced the soup to the New England area. New England clam chowder, also known as Boston clam chowder, is made with the usual clams and potatoes, but it also has a milk or cream base. It's usually thick and hearty, however in the 19th and 20th centuries, it was quite thin. All right, and then the last step, it says to add 3 cups of heavy cream and white pepper. So here's the heavy cream. So much heavy cream. And the white pepper, freshly crushed. Oh. There you go, that looks more the color that I was expecting it to look. Dan just got home. What did you say it smelled like?
I said it smelled like restaurant.
That's like a really big compliment. I need to find clam meat in here. It is chopped, it's pretty small.
Yeah, I think I see a little bit there.
Oh, here's a decent chunk. See? Mmm.
Mmm.
It reminds me a lot of a potato soup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the clam meat is a little chewy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's because I cooked it on a lower heat than the recipe called for longer. I've never had clams though, so I don't know what they're supposed to taste like or their consistency. But overall, I really like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't try some of that. I've yet to find a big enough
Sorry, it was a really hot bite.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't blow on it first. Did the bread turn out okay? Mmm.
With these together?
That's good bread.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a big success, which I'm very thankful for because it made a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The next stop on our state recipe list is Ohio. For Ohio, I'm going the route of dessert for this state, and we are making some Buckeyes. So I have everything in front of me right now that I'm going to need, and it's obviously a very, very simple dessert. It's essentially just a peanut butter mixture coated in chocolate. The Buckeye candy is meant to look like the Buckeye fruit of the state. The candy was traditionally made to be eaten while watching Ohio State-Michigan football games and was popularized by Gail Tabor, who wrote a column in the Arizona Republic claiming to be the first to make the dessert for Ohio State fans. Those have been chilling in the freezer for a substantial amount of time. And here is the chocolate that I just finished melting, and I took it off of the burner. But what you do now basically is take the very cold Buckeyes, dip them in the chocolate, and put them right back. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right, it is the next morning, and we have all of the Buckeyes in this little container, getting ready to take them to church for our Sunday school class. Actually, for the girl who leads the Sunday school class, Jill, because she is the one that suggested I make Buckeyes for Ohio. So we are going to take them there so she can try them as well.
They look marvelous.
Slumber parties.
We were out last night.
It's the weird thing, whether it was all-nighters or
That's a Buckeye.
You see the popular thing.
Very, very good.
I never really
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Remember, this is the first go, so.
Oh, that's too sweet.
It was very good.
Thank you.
I never broke a bone, ever, in my whole entire life. Never broke a bone.
It was very good. I've never had one. It was very good. It was very sweet.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, me too.
Hopefully it will sweeten me up.
I really have no idea how I managed to make those desserts so huge. Buckeyes are not meant to be that big. But everyone in my Sunday school was super, super gracious about it, and I didn't see anybody shaking their fingers at me at any point, which I appreciate. The next state that we cooked for, and the first state we cooked in Illinois, was Connecticut. We are cooking for Connecticut today, and as you can tell, we are in a different kitchen because since the last state recipe that you just saw, Dan and I have moved to Illinois, and we are currently in my mom's kitchen because we are currently living with her in her house. So this is the new setup that you're gonna have to be accustomed to seeing for some more of these state recipes for a while. But it's exciting because I can actually film in front of my counter while I work on the counter, and I don't have to have things at weird angles because it's an apartment kitchen. This is a house kitchen, so I'm excited. But for Connecticut, we are making some white clam pizza. And the first step is to get the dough rising, which isn't exciting, so we're just gonna do that and catch up to you guys for all the fun toppings. Okay, dough is risen. We are ready to roll them out and start making putting the toppings on. We went ahead and prepped all of the toppings already, so we're good to go there. And we made dough for a second pizza as well because we wanted to back up in case this was a flop, and also because if it's good, it won't be enough to feed all of us, so we needed another pizza anyway. So we're making some of our buffalo chicken pizza to go with this. I don't think buffalo chicken and clams really go that well together, but pizza is pizza, so. Pepe's, or Frank Pepe Pizzeria Napolitana in New Haven, Connecticut, is the creator of the white clam pizza. New Haven pizza is traditionally baked in a coal-fired oven at temperatures upwards of 650 degrees. I'm trying to replicate this recipe as best as I can, but I'm not going to be able to replicate that. Okay,
Yes.
now the thing with this pizza is it said to prepare it like this and then slide it onto the nice hot stone that is in the oven. And I'm assuming this is to help get the bottom nice and brown. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, so it could mess up horrifically or it could work out really well. I tried to make sure that I put lots of cornmeal on the bottom of this so it's nice and slidey, but I will very much want your help, Dan. Oh, and in case you were wondering, this is what our other pizza looks like pre-oven. Oh, this is a mess. It's a heart. It's not what I wanted.
Well, that's a good recovery, though.
I mean, it's better than what it might have been.
Right.
Let's see how that turns out. We got my mom here to help us taste test, and she brought hot sauce in case it tastes horrible. She can just mask the flavor.
I just like hot sauce.
Okay, so I'm going to snag one of these and just try it right off the bat as is.
Yeah.
Wanna jump in with us?
Yep, I sure do.
Alright. Just cook.
So this is, we're not barbarians. Savages.
Ready? I like the crust.
Different, to be sure.
I taste the cheeses and the garlic. I just haven't gotten a good clammy bite yet. It is very good. It's nice and herby. It's not overly fishy, which I was a little afraid of because there was a lot of clams that went into this.
Really good.
Well, it is. Yeah, it is pretty good.
Did you pass the hot sauce?
I'll give you that one. Then you can have it.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was a clammy bite. Okay. All the flavors do work really well together. Cool. All right. Awesome, this was a success. After I shut the camera off and we were getting closer to the end of our meal, Dan did say that he didn't think he liked the clam pizza all that much, mostly because of the clams. I really don't think that clams are either of our favorite foods, and although I did really enjoy the pizza fresh out of the oven, I will agree that the leftovers definitely were not good, and some of that pizza did end up going to waste because we just couldn't finish it. One note that we did have is, although this would make it no longer Connecticut style white clam pizza at all, if you replace the clams with chicken, then it would be a really, really tasty white pizza recipe. The final state we are cooking for this video is Louisiana. For Louisiana, we are making étouffée, which that's how I'm going to try to pronounce it this whole video, and I'm fairly confident that I'm pronouncing it wrong. Although I looked it up online and it said étouffée. It's French. I don't know French, so I'm going to be not confident with myself every time I have to pronounce it. But it is very, very simple to put together, actually. I thought it was going to be way more complicated, but basically we're making rice and all the other ingredients get put together and they simmer for like 20 minutes, 10 minutes-ish, and then you eat it. And you put that concoction over the rice and you eat and you're good to go. So we're gonna get everything prepped, and as far as prepping stuff, there really isn't anything to show. So we're just gonna do a nice little time lapse of all of it cooking on the stove. Étouffée comes from the French word which means to smother. Crawfish étouffée was created in Breaux Bridge, Louisiana. Breaux Bridge is in Acadiana, which locals refer to as Cajun country. The restaurants there were first to offer crawfish openly in their menus, and in 1959, Louisiana officially designated Breaux Bridge as the crawfish capital of the world. All right. Rice. Make sure I get a nice crawdad in there. A little bit more rice.
Oh yeah.
That's good.
I like that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
A little bit of a
Nothing.
bite.
There is a bit of a bite. It must come from the Cajun seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what else is coming from.
Mmm.
That's really good.
That is really good.
Crowd eyes.
Good job, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yes. I like the consistency of it. I like the vegetables. It does come across as quite buttery.
Yeah. And that is all I have for you for this very shellfish heavy video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. As always, I will link all of the recipes that we followed in the description box below, including any changes that we might have made to the recipes, so you can see those as well. I'll also put in the description a list of all of the states that, to the point of recording this video, I have not cooked for yet. So if you see any state in there that you know of a recipe that you think would be perfect for that state, let me know in the comments or tweet me a link to the specific recipe that you have in mind. Make sure that you subscribe and hit that little bell notification so you don't miss when I upload any other state recipes. I hope you guys have a great week and I will see you next time. Bye! I look, my finger is covered in garlic.
Pretty nasty, huh?
It happened to you.